January 25, 2011. Demonstrations and marches occupy the streets and plazas of Cairo, Egypt, as millions of protesters take to the street to demand the overthrow of Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak. The mainstream media grapple to provide context to the events. Like a bewildered herd, though, they're caught off guard for what is occurring. There I sat at a job interview at Swarthmore College with Professor Farha Ghanem, a social scientist and expert on the Middle East, who is telling me what led up to the uprising in Egypt in the fullest of contexts. I asked her, well, has CNN called you? Has anybody resourced you as an expert? Mainstream news reporters have become a bewildered herd, unable to adapt to a more inclusive news dialogue in a marketplace too distracted to give attention or time to basic storytelling. Life histories is a primary mode of communication, which we are starting to hear on public radio. Now, shows like Radiolab are making the connections between first-hand testimonies and analysis of these testimonies by a huge pool of seldom resourced, highly focused and educated analysts. This is where Mondo Globe comes in. MondoGlobe.com is a news and information website that provides original, life-altering, deeply contextual news reports of global events informed by social science researchers, native intellectuals, and local testimony. At MondoGlobe.com, we make the connection between storytellers and analytic insight on a global scale. Over the last 4 years, our small team has begun to create the initial architecture for a new style of media, an inversion of news media that relies upon a basic news format, opening up a news media to a world of contributors with journalists turned editors overseeing factuality and verifying and soliciting stories from a global network of geographic experts, creating a space for informed dialogue for newsworthy subjects. So far, we've put ourselves on the map with some internet content. Our next step is to pull together our team for 5 months to build more content, create institutional connections to build our contributor base, and to create a revenue stream through advertising revenue. A few months ago, we beta tested a new video blog, Global Voices from the Creative Commons. We have some big ideas in store: open cafe video forums, continuous 24-hour event coverage, the use of split screen and multiple perspective reporting that you saw in Woodstock, theme shows pulling together diverse reports with one theme, diverse ethnographic field journal reports. The market for our media and information website is a cosmopolitan readership who demand facts, an in-depth analysis of global events in simple-to-read and concise newsprint. Our market readership doubles as contributors to invest our marketplace with dialogue. We intend to create a revenue stream from selective web advertising, subdued and without adware or pop-ups. Our advertisers will know that our customer base is well-informed demographically in their 30s and 40s, English speakers and global citizens. Candor and simplicity of messaging will be the attractors for our advert guidelines. So I started Mondo Globe 2 years ago as an extension to an undergraduate news publication I have, socialsitesnews.org, which I would like to act as the training ground for MondoGlobe.com. Social Science News is going to be acting as a nonprofit in this vein. So now my graduates, though, from that website are grown up and they need some jobs, and so I want to continue on and expand what we've been doing. My background comes from documentary video production, working at one point on Discovery Channel projects. I was at one time a professionally trained corporate manager before going back to graduate school. I've devoted most of my recent energy on conducting applied media research, documenting how Maya have used media for self-representation, for example, but also looking at citizens' media as it's produced worldwide. What I'm hopeful that I can do with a team is mentor and inspire talent. steer us towards some fiscal responsibility, and keep us on track while remaining open to opportunity and kind of resourcing all of the things I've done through my life and pulling it together for this particular job. Many hands have helped shape our current web model, and there are 20 or so team members that are eager to have a role in mondoglobe.com. Our current team is a select few who will mold mondoglobe.com into a revenue-gathering, daily news producing site to enable us to gather more personnel. A talented ensemble of young graduate school graduates, soon-to-be graduates, but all working professionals in the industry. There's Mercedes, Satyam, Teju, and Kelsey. Financially, we're in our infancy. We are coming to Matter VC for some mentorship, for some ideas about how to raise capital, how to create a revenue stream. We have the team and we have the commitment to move forward. When we create a revenue stream or find startup capital and find the means to expand, I will find a board of directors and a CPA to act as treasurer and move our company beyond a sole proprietorship into a corporation model. Our competition are science journals like ScienceDaily.com, edited by a teacher and a science writer, and AnthropologyNews.org, the news journal of the American Anthropology Association. But reaching out to the field of international social scientists is unprecedented and not without its challenges. The Viceland channel has just emerged, ushering in an edgy news format to politicize issues that are unpolished, unvarnished, and unstaged. First-person testimonials in radio formats like Radiolab from WNYC have explored nonlinear news storytelling, connecting unlikely themes together, and Snap Judgment here in Oakland and the evocative potential of its first-person media are kind of coming into its own. There are many good models, I think, for producing creative media nowadays. But we also want to find our own particular niche in the variety of new and emerging media. We want to produce ethnographic media with an edge, like Vice does, but we also want to avoid the pitfalls presenting all human society mired in vice and violence. We also want to present solutions as well as problems within society. We want to make bigger connections to society and thought while keeping the first person as central. And we also want to host and organize public forums, public mobilization, open up dialogues with our virtual community, stage protests, get involved in the global community. Certainly, there will be challenges ahead for us. Reaching out to universities and social science students worldwide will be challenging. Will take some perseverance. We will have to bring on experienced professionals with any infusion of capital to fill certain roles to help us guide younger staff. It may be some adjustment for social scientists and social science journalists to shift to editing most of the time instead of producing and writing stories. At some point, we will have to negotiate with YouTube and build our own media server for warehousing media. We will also have to work a compensation framework through PayPal for dedicated and regular contributors. Our current investment needs are tied into how far we get with entrepreneur mentoring. The majority of our early investment will be centered upon personnel, then office space, expenses and travel to universities, and location shooting. We have more team members waiting to join us once we establish a revenue stream, editors ready to reconcile testimony with social science research, to fact-check submittals, make connections to a world of researchers and their informants, ready to go on scene and report on events as they unfold, connected to a network of native intellectuals. We want to make a sea change in the way news is reported. We want to create an easy template for participatory reportage on a global scale. We're thinking big, but scaling practically, one step at a time, not afraid to admit mistakes or adapt when we have to. Thank you for your consideration.